You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Wait, we're working on Saturdays now? Of course, it's me, that rat bastard, Brad Marchand, who scores the winner. Presented by Bet365 live at Amerant Bank Arena here in Sunrise. Nick Alberga, and this is not Jay Rosehill, it's Jeff Marek.
Okay, let me open up. I want to open up my own way, my choice. So when you're in and around Toronto, Nick, and someone says, I'm in the bridge, what does that mean?
I have no clue.
Woodbridge.
Yeah.
Woodbridge. Okay. 905 Alive, right?
Okay.
Go to right down Highway 7. Keep going west, and you're gonna hit Woodbridge. When you're in Alberta, and you say you're in the bridge, you know what that means?
No clue.
Lethbridge.
Okay.
And that's where Jay Rosehill is today. So I will be the reasonable hand-drawn facsimile of Jay Rosehill today. Or am I the new co-host of the program? Is this a tough way for Jay Rosehill to find out that there's been pink paper on the fax machine for him for all these years, and finally today we cash it?
Yeah.
And now Jay Rosehill is ex of Leafs Morning Take.
That's the
Get my
most.
big break here.
I think this is your chance. I think it's the most research anybody's done in a
All right.
co-host role on the show.
Don't drive it into the ditch, Marek. Don't steer it off the road. I haven't done a Leaf Space show since Leafs Lunch with Bill Waters.
Wow.
So many years ago. It's true, and I loved doing that show. That actually was probably my big break in the industry, was doing that one, even before like hockey night and everything.
We're here to springboard you to new levels at Leafs Morning Take. So.
I'm just here briefly until this thing takes me into a whole different tax bracket.
I like that.
How about that?
Can't forget as well, our Super Chat charity partner this season is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the number one research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and third in the world. We are monitoring, obviously, YouTube. If you've got a question for Marek, chime in at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Now, you broadcasted around the world. And again, firstly, I should thank the Florida Panthers for the hospitality here,
Oh,
Marek.
yeah.
But
They've been great.
coldness factor, we're working in a refrigerator.
Okay, first of all, here's a guy in a T-shirt. I've got a sports coat on and a collared shirt. He's wearing the latest off the runways of Bristol, Connecticut, home of
How sick is that?
WWE's Razor Ramon, complete with the toothpick and intercontinental title. My wife would refer to that as chick repellent, by the way.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just handicapping yourself. It's too easy to look good when I go out at night. I'm going to handicap myself and wear a Razor Ramon T-shirt. It's chilly, but you're just wearing a T-shirt. How can you complain?
Yeah,
like
I
you're
know.
not. You were here yesterday. You know that it's chilly. Vic threw on a hoodie.
That's true.
Right? He's got like more than
I wasn't prepared.
2 functioning brain cells, and you're showing up with a T-shirt complaining that it's too cold.
Just,
That's
I don't know.
rich, bud.
It's nice outside, we'll say that. And again, thank you to the Florida
Yeah.
Panthers for the hospitality. Jump into it. So Brad Marchand, like the guy, and again, I thought it was aptly named Leaf Killer. Our heads got together. We named this podcast today, but what a story. I think he's been excellent in the series, and it wasn't going to be a sweep, was it?
No, I understand that Leafs fans are really upset about last night, and I know squandering a lead like they had is not going to rest lightly on their shoulders. We understand all of this, but not for a moment. Like, look at me here. Like, this is your buddy Jeff. Like, you didn't think you're going to sweep the Panthers, did you?
I did.
Like, seriously. Well, I mean, comment dit en français, as we say in French, tu rêves en couleur. You dream in Technicolor. There's no way you're going to sweep the defending Stanley Cup champions, but I do want to mention one thing. I told you I was going to do this last night. Alberga and I were sitting next to each other in Popcorn Row, and I get this text last night at 10:36. So this is a couple of moments after Brad Marchand ices it for the Florida Panthers. This is someone who's with a Western Conference-based team. Leafs, you'll love this.
I don't think I will.
Leafs won't win a cup until the Bruins are relocated to Atlanta and every player to ever wear the B is retired. And I'm guessing that's probably how Maple Leafs fans felt last night. It's one thing if Carter Verhaeghe scores that goal. It's something if Nico Mikkola bounces it off someone's shin pad and it goes in. But of course it's Brad Marchand. Of course. It's
Was
Brad
that text
Marchand.
not about AJ Greer? He played for Boston too.
The text was not about A.J. Greer, although it could be about A.J. Greer. Although, I'll tell you what about A.J. Greer. The minute I see, whenever Paul Maurice puts A.J. Greer in the lineup, you're like, uh-oh, like he wants someone to stir it up. Like he wants someone out there. You know, Nick, there's like dumb and then there's hockey dumb. Whenever I see Paul Maurice put A.J. Greer in, I'm like, okay, so Paul wants some hockey dumb here. And sometimes you get that from AJ Greer, and that's been true going back to junior. But of course it had to be Brad Marchand.
I know.
And of course it had to be off Morgan Riley in a game like that last night. Like, here's the one thing I look at, because Maple Leafs fans are, oh, geez, lost a game here. A lot of these just went off Morgan Riley. One off his stick, one off of his
What do
hip.
people
Like,
want Morgan Riley to do? Like, I know he's the easy whipping boy, but like, and you score one on your own net.
That
He
was
scores
tough
a goal. Like, he got the good, the bad, the ugly hat trick, I like to call it. Like, what do people want? Like, it was a game of bounces where all that shit just seemed to happen shift by shift, even when it came to the Maple Leafs goals. Like, what was there one snipe in the game last night?
There was a lot of ugly. Like, there was a lot of there was a lot of ugly goals. There were a lot that left like a gingivitis odor.
Yeah.
When you looked at it, you're like, oh, geez, man, that's some morning breath right there. And Morgan Riley says one. I'll tell you what, I feel bad for Morgan Riley, and here's why. Morgan Riley, under Craig Berube, can't do what Morgan Riley does best. Like, his best asset is skating. And skating the puck out of the zone. Grab it and gallop. Grab it and gallop. And you watch all the games. You go to the games. Like, you see it. Like, Berube wants his defenseman around the net. And how many times have you seen the Leafs break out and it's all five in the screen? Like, that's how it goes. It's safe, short passes. Very conservative, very smart, very playoff-friendly style of hockey. It's not Morgan Riley. Riley's there to gallop. So I'm guessing of all players on the Maple Leafs, who had, of course, a wonderful season, but the most frustrated has got to be Morgan Riley. And then again last night, you could just feel in his head, like, the puck goes off of his stick. He pokes it in the net like he's playing snooker. And you're just saying to yourself, wow, like, what's got to be going through Morgan Riley's head? By the way, Peter in the chat says, Jeff needs to turn up the gain on his mic. That's producer talk for something.
It was that reminds me of the comments last night. I was watching some post-game activity. Did you see Pete DeBoer's presser? Any other coaches in the room? Go check that out after the show today. He just like somebody asked him a question about like something they did wrong. And he's like, any other coaches in the room? Can we move on here? Like he snapped a bit.
You know, that's like Pete DeBoer trying not to snap, and so instead just getting his Periscope up and going, any coaches around the room here
Ever happened to you in your
today?"
career where a coach is just having a bad day and shadow? Oh.
How long do we have? Coaches, managers, agents. It's part of. It's an occupational hazard, and you sort of wake up every day and go to bed every night, and you wonder to yourself, like, okay, is the porridge too hot? Is the porridge too cold? Is the porridge just right? Like, that's just the reality of doing the job for however many years.
Catch somebody on the wrong night, and that's what happens. Again, at the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit our subscribe button as we sort of start to move forward to Game 4 here, but the Maple Leafs losing 5-4 in OT. Brad Marchand, the winner. It's really interesting, Marek, because I think you look at the series, the game, the postseason thus far for the Maple Leafs. There's a weird optimism. Like, I'm on with Zach last night on After Dark, and I'm actually commending the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is weird because Brad Marchand wins the game. But, like, I feel good about the process right now. What's your read on this team?
They don't panic.
Yeah.
How many other times have you seen a Toronto Maple Leafs team either in a situation exactly like this or similar to this, and they just cave, right? They completely fold. The tent folds around them, and they're done, and they can't get out of their own way. I don't know about you, but I don't know whether there's been any moments where I've seen panic whatsoever. Now, a lot of it is, Panthers in Game 2 tie it up, and it's like, everyone gets nervous, and then Mitch Marner, sends a floater to Bobrovsky, and it goes in. So you don't have enough time to build up a frustration and build up a panic, but I don't see it. I don't see it on the ice, like, whatsoever. It's a byproduct probably of more veteran players, more of a faith in your goaltending and your defending. I'm sure we're going to get to Wall here in a second, but also I just think that this is a team that is not physically. Not as much physically built to handle playoffs, but mentally built too. They're not getting in their own way. That's why I look at this game last night and I'm like, all the games have been close. This thing goes into overtime. Okay, it's half a puck here, it's half a puck there. If I'm a Maple Leafs fan, I'm not panicked at all. Like, you still hold serve here. You still hold serve. And, after winning 2 games, Colby Cohen was saying this on Morning Cup of Hockey. Do you think the Panthers are going to win 4 out of 5 against the Maple Leafs?
It's a good question. That's
based. Put it this way: if the Panthers that we saw in the second period last night are the Florida Panthers we're going to see the rest of the way, then it's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
But I don't think either team has turned in a good full game yet.
No.
Especially on the Maple Leafs. And that's where, again, like if you're a Maple Leafs fan, your team hasn't played a full game yet. And they will eventually here. I think if you're looking for some optimism, your team hasn't played a full game yet, and you're up 2-1 on defending Cup champions.
I like the positive outlook there. And if there's one thing I gathered from watching the game last night, and Paul Maurice is one of the best coaches in the league, you think it was hammered across the room, make Wall play the puck? I didn't realize it until last night, Marek, how much of a drop-off there is from Stolarz to Wall. Like, he looked very unlike himself. And I think part of the reason is because Florida's getting him to play the puck, and he's thinking about that more than making saves.
He doesn't have to play the puck. It's almost as if the Maple Leafs have made the choice too. And it's always interesting when you have two goaltenders who perform in two very distinct ways. Anthony Stolarz is very comfortable playing the puck. And Stephen Ellis was making this point last night. It almost seems as if Craig Berube has said, we're not going to ask our team to change how they play around Wall. We're going to get our goalie to change how he plays around these players. So we need him to start playing the puck more. He's clearly not as comfortable as Stolarz doing it, which is why you saw so many gaffes. I don't know what the right answer to that is. Like, to Pete DeBoer's point in the presser, look around. Like, Marek ain't putting his hand up. He's not a coach. It is an interesting conundrum, and I think you're right. If you're the Florida Panthers, you want to get pucks in and around Joseph Wall so he does play it, because, as we've seen, sometimes that thing is a bag of toys.
Honestly, I haven't disclosed this to you, but this is a goalie TED Talk. And Matt Murray... You're fucking kidding me, though, right? I know there's no swearing on your show. We're a bit different here. Okay, that's good.
No, it just has to be selective. Like, you have to use it.
Rosie gets on me
at the right moment, so it has a certain the gravity has a certain quality.
The children, Rosie says, but I have run out of expletives to weigh in on Matt. Like, I could not believe my eyes. I'm like, Hildeby's on the bench. He's got a tan cooking. You know, the guy was just chilling out. I'm the fourth string goalie. There's no chance I'm going to be in the mix. And lo and behold, Matt Murray is sick, and Hildeby is backing up, man. It is so Maple Leafs in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and it's kind of fascinating because every year we talk. Yeah.
I was going to say, goalie is such a specific position. Like, the history of goaltending, too, and Dominik Hasek is Exhibit A when it comes to this. Now, I personally think Dominik Hasek was the greatest goaltender of all time. Okay, cross-generationally.
I'm a Marty Brodeur guy, but anyways.
I understand that. Yeah. Dominik Hasek, for me, the best goaltender of all time. I never saw a goaltender have that profound an effect on a team, the likes of which Dominik Hasek had with the teams that he played for. But the thing about Dom was, if he wasn't feeling 100%, he wasn't stepping on the ice. Right? I know, like, remember after the Olympics, and he had that angel hair past the groin that just went snap, and he was not going. And Ottawa Senators begged him even to just go on the ice and just try to practice. And Dom was like, no. I've talked to a lot of goalies about this too, considering goalies are out there for the full game, and they don't get a chance, to rest after shifts. I know it's frustrating for fans, but I do understand the goaltenders, or some goaltenders, that if they're not 100%, and I'm not saying this is Matt Murray, I'm just saying in general, that if they're not 100%, they're not going to go on the ice. Just because how physically demanding it is, how dangerous it is as well, and you're not getting a break, and the chances of re-injury are higher than any other player on the ice. Especially against a team like the Florida Panthers.
Just don't buy it. I'm sorry.
I know. Listen, I know you're not picking up what I'm putting down here. I'm just trying to defend the goaltender union, but saying, like, I understand, like, if you're not 100%, not wanting to go. Because let me give you another example here. You and I were talking about this yesterday on the way to the car after the game.
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk at the Four Nations was clearly not good enough to play, and he sat on the bench because it became obvious early in the game that he couldn't go. Meanwhile, there's Kyle Connor for U.S. in a suit watching this thing, saying to himself, it's a one-goal game. It's a tied game. USA could really use a goal. Matthew Tkachuk is in the lineup. He can't skate. He's sitting on the bench. I can skate. I can score. So I know the idea of trying to be a hero is something that we always hold on to. Bobby Bond scores with a broken leg. Oh, my God. Like, we all revel in all that kind of stuff, and we swim in that mud. But really, you're not doing your team any favors if you're injured, or if you really can't go, and inserting yourself because you want to put on a cape and a mask and be a hero.
Matt Murray's a considerate dude, I guess. Hey, he's like, you know what?
Honestly, for some athletes, it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
To say, like, I'm hurting my team if I really want to. It's like sports exists in a weird place, Nick. There's what your head knows and what your heart feels. And sports is right in between, right? And I'm sure that Matt Murray's heart might be saying, I really want to do this, I really want to do this, but his head is saying, but you can't do this. But you can't do this.
All I'll say, Steve Mason is he likes potting and flowering his garden, and he's not playing hockey anymore. And these guys are just built differently. Steve Mason of Oakville, Ontario, former Calder Trophy winner with the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Is he the last goalie to win the Calder?
Top of my head, I think so. I can't think of it. It's hard. Maybe it's Dustin Wolf. Unlikely this year.
I just remember famously when he was struggling in Columbus, he told all the guys, you can check this with him, that one of the ways, and this is real, this actually makes more sense now than it did then, that he told all the guys one of the ways that he helped turn around his game is he got off Twitter.
Because assholes like me are like...
Because you're just targeting goaltenders.
Well, man, it's like just stay in the crease. And I understand it's a different era, and I grew up in an era, you did as well, where Marty Brodeur, I didn't even... Like, if you were a scribe and you went to the morning skate, you don't even have to ask, is Marty in tonight? Because you knew Brodeur was in there, you knew Waugh was in there, you knew Hasek was in there.
But you can't anymore. Like, the position is too demanding. The game is too demanding. Like, how many of these guys... Right, and again, it's not just the games too, but the practices. Like, man, that position now, the way the game is played, and don't forget too, Marty wasn't a butterfly guy, so it wasn't as if it's like constant pressure on the hips and pressure on the knees over and over and over again. So they sort of hobble around and have a hard time tying their shoes when they retire. Like, Marty was maybe the last of the stand-up-ish goaltenders, right? So he didn't have all of that. I mean, how many times you heard goalies like, man, my hips are so tight. Oh, my knees are shot. Yeah. That's the style. It's, as we like to say, it's the toilet seat at a Stag and Doe. Up and down, up and down, up and down. That's what goalies are now.
Okay. Well, I got no belief in
like
Matt
that
Murray.
one?
That's the moral of the story. I got no belief in Matt Murray.
He speaks well of you, Nick. I don't know why you would say that about
Well,
Matt
I don't
Murray.
of him, because and this goes back to the previous general manager who thought he was serious. He's going to win a Stanley Cup bringing in Matt Murray. But I digress. We're talking about
Matt Murray won a Stanley Cup, though.
No, but I'm saying he thought he was going to win a Stanley Cup with that version of Matt Murray in Toronto. He wasn't fooling anybody. He's in a different market now. He's at the World Championships now.
One thing I will say about goaltenders is I don't make my mind up about them until at least 100 games. Okay. I'm loving Dustin Wolf. Dustin Wolf looks fantastic this year. Yeah. If you ask me what I think about Dustin Wolf, I'll tell you. You want my honest answer? I don't know because I haven't seen 100 games. I want adjustments. All the shooters to have a look at him, have the book written, and then see how the goaltender is going to adapt once all the shooters figure out what the book is on him. 100 games.
We seem to have a book on Joseph Woll. We're going to get back to that story. I should mention as well, Greta Watch Party. I just got a text from our boss, Amal Delich. Please promote Game 5 at Greta for a pregame show and postgame show and watch party. So I believe that is Wednesday night. Wednesday night, the entire crew, producer Vic, myself, Zach Phillips will be on location at Greta Bar YYZ. So opentable.ca. You can book through the Greta Bar website as well. We're going to be there. Pregame
it's a great
show.
Spot. It's an awesome spot.
Great nachos.
I love it. Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I was there with the Hockey Night in Scottsdale guys.
Yes.
Before you guys started to do all your events.
Those guys are hilarious.
Dude, I love them.
Like, they're just no holds barred.
Swish is so great. Gucci's hilarious. Like, honestly, I was like, my wife was like, what are you getting into going on the show? I'm like, I have no clue and I can't wait. And it's just the most fun.
Like, don't you love when you do interviews, you have no clue what's going to come up next?
So good.
Yeah. No preparation. Who needs preparation?
Life is show prep. That's it.
Exactly. So, what are your thoughts now? It's tough from that perspective, and I will say there wasn't that same hollow feeling. Like, I know it stinks seeing your team lose a game in OT, and it's Brad Marchand. Like, it couldn't have been anybody else but that pile of – he's so good. He is so good. I love him on the national stage. I want him to be a Maple Leaf to wrap up his career. I doubt it's going to happen. And I don't know if you caught this after the game, too. He said, and he keeps glowing about the Maple Leafs having killer instinct now. That is such gamesmanship. That is a pile of crap that he's now promoting the Maple Leafs as having that killer instinct. This guy just has them playing a fiddle. But I was getting to the point of, like, Game 4, too.
I've heard the thought on Brad Marchand, like what you're seeing, what you've seen all his career, going back to 2011 when the Bruins won the Stanley Cup. Like, this is a master class for every other NHLer for – if you want to make the game better and if you want to make the game more interesting, here's how you do it. Because I'll tell you, I don't know about you, Nick. I don't know about any of your viewers or listeners, but I'm going to go out on a ledge here. And I'm going to guess that nobody would go to a game if it were sold like this. Come to the hockey game tonight to watch these two teams respect each other.
Yeah, Rosehill wouldn't be there.
Would
Would
you go to watch that? Oh, man. Dude, the Panthers and the Leafs are playing in a best-of-7, and they are respecting themselves out there.
You know what's funny?
I can't get a ticket.
We had Wendell Clark on last week, and he's like, I can't give a prediction. I just care that they have fun. We're like, Wendell, you're kidding me, man.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Can we stop at McDonald's on the way home, too?
Yeah,
Like,
there's just that je ne sais quoi to Brad Marchand, where he
he's
just
perfect.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Oh, I hate
Honestly,
doing this, too. It's the Leaf show. The guy is just so good at hockey. Like,
he's great at hockey, and he's great at marketing, he's great
Yeah.
at selling the game, and he's
Yeah.
great at making it interesting, and he's great at actually saying things when people put a microphone in front of his face.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Real
And
question for you here. Wes McCauley, is he the key to this all? The Leafs now 0-9 all-time. Wes McCauley calling games. That was a great tripping call late in the hockey
Did
game.
did he make that call, or
I
did
don't
TJ
know. I have
Luxmore? I
no
think
clue.
Luxmore made that
Okay.
call. I don't think that was
That's
Wes
a
McCauley.
gutsy call late in regulation.
Total gutsy call. I don't think that was Wes's. So you follow.
Sorry, Wes.
Do you follow scouting? And by the way, Wes is one of the best officials in the NHL, and he's an excellent skater. And you will seldom, if ever, see Wes McCauley out of position. One
point.
quick thing about officiating: if you're just gonna watch officials, or if you're gonna criticize officials, like that's cool. But at the same time, watch who's in position and who's out of position. McCauley's a strong skater, and he's always in position to make calls. You can argue about the decisions that he makes and the calls that he does make, but it is so hard to keep up to guys right now in the NHL.
True.
You have to be in A, excellent shape, and B, you have to be an excellent skater, and you don't get a break like these guys do. Wes McCauley is one of the elite. Do you follow Scouting the Refs?
I bet, yeah.
It's
They do
an
a great
excellent
job.
site. It's
Yeah.
a great website.
Yeah.
It's a great social media feed. I absolutely love it. The only thing that I kind of at is the record that they put beside the official for the team. Right? Like TJ Luxmore is blah, blah, blah.
love
Against
that.
the Philadelphia Flyers. So there is a story. Do I have time for a quick story?
Of course you do.
Art Scove was an official in the 1970s who was always believed to be in the bag for the Philadelphia Flyers. Like if you look at like the Dale Rolfe, Dave Schultz incident, that was Art Scove not pulling the linesman out and allowing Dave Schultz to almost murder a man in that Philadelphia New York Rangers series, but I digress. It got to the point where, and I remember talking to Emil Francis about this, the late former coach GM of the New York Rangers. He said for him it was the most embarrassing thing he'd ever seen in hockey. Flyers are playing the Rangers, and they're doing all the advertisements on the boards, and they're introduced on the jumbotron, and they're introducing the officials, and they introduce Art Scove, and then they announce, and the Philadelphia Flyers are a perfect 20-0-2
No.
when Art Scove officiates the game, and he gets a standing ovation. And Kat said that it was the most embarrassing thing he was ever part of in the history of the NHL. So that was the only time that I look at and I go like, oh man, like I really don't like putting the sort of record that officials have with
0-9,
various
man.
teams.
I don't think we're going to be retiring Wes McCauley's number at Scotiabank Arena.
He's an
anytime
excellent
soon.
official. And
Well,
it's not just the fun
0-9. I'm
calls.
trying to find
He's a-
reasons why the Leafs
he's a
keep
great-
losing with this guy.
It's not the officials. It's not Wes McCauley. It's not any of that nonsense. He's an excellent official. Like
That is just
score your goals, stop your pucks, win your games.
It's an interesting call. That's all I'm going to say. There's 2.5 minutes remaining.
I think it was Luxmore. I don't think it was McCauley.
Well, they're all
they're all
I think-
against the
I
Maple Leafs
think
because the
refs-
NHL doesn't want their highest revenue earner to go deep into the
They
playoffs.
should be held accountable. I want refs talking after the game.
They are held accountable. See who gets the assignments from round.
But I want to
round.
hear from them after the game.
I'll tell you where I want to hear from them. Can I make one point? Am I allowed to make a
You're
non?
allowed to say anything you want.
All right, here we go.
Jeff
Let me wind
Marek.
up on this one. So
Yeah.
we hear players commenting on officials all the time. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
We hear coaches commenting on officials all the time. Cool. We hear managers comment on cool. All of it. If you allow officials to talk after the game,
Oh, man.
what I want to
I know
hear
where you're going
is
with it.
officials talking about the player's performance and the coach's decisions. Like, I can't believe what he's running out there for a power play. Like, would you not love to hear an
That's-
official like blast players like, what's he doing on that play? First of all, what's he doing out there? He's a -3 and they keep running him out there. He's been awful this year. I hear there's problems at home, by the way, too. Like, wouldn't you love to hear officials talk about the players. All of a sudden the players be like, whoa, he can't say that. Oh, but it's fine the other way. So the players can go and blast off on the officials. I want to hear Wes McCauley comment on what he thought of the game last night and Morgan Riley's stick positioning around the net.
Stephen Walkham writes it in the chat. Thank you very much, Jeff Marek. Nick Alberga, Jeff Marek here at Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise. Recapping Game 3, looking ahead to Game 4 here. At least want to take the Saturday edition. In support of Sick Kids, John Gallagher, thank you so much for the super chat. Last night, goals 3 and 4 were it for me for 16. The $1 million question, do we spend his money on Ekblad and Bennett or wait a year for McJesus? How do you think things play out with Marner to begin with? Is it too early to tell?
I think Marner wants to be in Toronto. I think his family wants him to be in Toronto. I would imagine Cortex, his representation, and Darren Ferris want him to be in Toronto.
How about Rocket Security? They want him here too?
I don't know that.
We'll ask Zach Phillips.
I don't know that that's still a relationship. But I don't know. But I don't know. I think that it matters to Mitch Marner to be considered the greatest Toronto-born Maple Leaf of all time. Like, I think that you hit a place in your career where things like legacy start to matter. Certainly cups do, and individual success with trophies and scoring awards and all these types of things. But I do think that for someone like Marner, who's grown up a Maple Leaf fan his entire life, I think it would be meaningful for him to one day be considered the greatest homegrown Maple Leaf of all time. Having said that, there is the reality of the decimal point and where that decimal point is for Mitch Marner, especially with the salary cap going up. There will be a massive market for Mitch Marner if he gets there. I think that I've always been of the belief, and actually this is what Adam Oates has always pointed out, why is it always that Marner has to help everybody around him, but there's no consideration of we need to do something to support 16? And I'll give you an example. How good did Marner look at the Four Nations playing alongside Sam Bennett? Sam Bennett is a much different style of center than Austin Matthews, obviously, where the premium is on skill and get the puck to 34. I just wonder how things would be different if Marner were with someone closer to Sam Bennett, or maybe even just Sam Bennett himself, or that style of player, right? Marner is amongst the elite when it comes to skill in the NHL. I talk a lot to Adam Oates. Oates loves him. He's like, this kind of skill.
I thought it was his client. We had Oates on, and it's not even his client.
No.
Like, he just loves the player. I respect
he just
that,
likes tampering with other clients. I love Mitch Marner. I'm sure you'll find my rates reasonable as well. Just ask Shafley and Eichel.
That's what it was.
But I do wonder if how things would be different, how he would be perceived if he played all these years with someone that was like Sam Bennett instead of Austin Matthews. And it's not a knock on Matthews, but the most successful lines in the history of hockey have three players that do three distinct things, right? I mean, we even saw this early in Connor McDavid's career when he had success playing on a line with Benoit Pouliot, who was a guy against the boards, and Nail Yakupov, who all he had to do was every time McDavid gets you the puck, you just shoot, just get in position. They're three guys that do distinctive things. If you go and look at the history of hockey, Trottier with Bossy and Gillies, three guys that do three distinct things. The thing with the Maple Leafs is their core four are more similar than they are different. There's a lot of skill overlap. And I wonder if that sort of contributed to this, annual sort of playoff futility. They don't have enough different styles of players.
I know we hate the core four conversation in this market, but there are two guys who are elevating above the rest. And it's not, one of the guys not who you suspect, but I think John Tavares has been downright incredible. Like again last night, and again, this whole ideology that JT doesn't do it in the playoffs, put it to rest, man. This is year after year after year where he's scoring big goals, making big plays, playing heavy hockey. If outside of Matthew Knies, I can make the argument that the best, evolution of a player I've seen under Craig Berube, if you will, is John Tavares.
Protects the puck at an elite level. Battles in front of the net at an elite level. His board play is, like, honestly, if you're a minor hockey coach, youth hockey coach, show your kids like John Tavares along the boards. Like, that's puck protection, and that's how you how you play. You know, Ryan Smith was one of the best of all time along the boards. And I look at John Tavares, and I'm like, this is elite. This is a masterclass. We know that open ice is not John Tavares' friend, but he's smart.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not like nobody makes races for John Tavares. You know, one of the things that you see in the NHL now more so than ever, the Rangers used to always do this with their left side, but they always had like burners like Kreider. They're just lob pucks behind the defenseman and make races. Like, I'm going to put over here, I'm going to make a race between my winger or my center and that defenseman. No one is doing that with John Tavares. You do that with Knies, you do that with Marner, you do that with a lot of other players, but you're not doing it with John Tavares. That's not his game, right? Racing to pucks is not his game. But when he's there and he's on a puck, good luck lifting his stick.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck. I mean, he uses his body so effectively, and he's so strong. But they've done a really good job, and John has done a really good job playing to his strengths, and that is protecting the puck and being around the net. I'm with you. I think Tavares has been awesome. And don't forget, too, this is in a especially challenging year where he surrendered the C.
Yeah.
To Austin Matthews. And don't think for a second that doesn't affect a player mentally.
You don't say.
Oh, yeah. We've seen it before.
It is crazy to me.
We've seen it before.
Like, so one guy gets a C, gives it to the other guy. Tavares having an incredible year, and then the more I watch Matthews, who knows what the hell is going on? This guy has 2 goals in 9 games. He scored 69 times last year, man.
I know.
Like,
I know.
It's becoming a big story for me.
Eventually, we'll find out what, if anything, it is. If it's an injury, and if so, the nature of it and how bad it is.
It has to be something. Like, you score 69 goals first time in 35 years, and now you can't, like Max Pacioretty is like scoring more. I love Max Pacioretty. He's probably my favorite player on the team, but come on. Like,
yeah. I agree with you. Like, to me, listen, the way he handles the puck is still elite. Listen, we saw him take a one-timer yesterday in the second period, and I was always told, like, watch with the one-timers. Sometimes you can tell where if Matthews is feeling it or not based on whether he's still taking one-timers. And we saw one yesterday, at least one. That was the one that I noticed anyhow.
Let me guess, you missed the net?
No, I think it was a shot on net. I think put it right in Bobrovsky's active chest. Oh. Had a very active chest, which means Leafs were shooting at his chest.
Yeah. Okay.
Although both goaltenders have been kind of hard to hit this whole series, right? Like, every game it's 9 goals.
Well, that's a crazy thing for me. It's like night and day from a couple years ago, and I don't like to compare to the previous series, but they've really found a way to get to Sergei Bobrovsky. And that's why you think in that type of series where it's open flow hockey, Austin Matthews would be a guy contributing offensively. He's getting his points, but again, like, there just has to be something cooking or wrong with this guy to suggest you go from Mr. Precision Shooter to like missing the net. Like, I think he's missed the net like 19 times in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, it's egregious, the number. It just, they're never going to admit it probably, and we'll never probably find out what's going on. But there's something going on. There has to be. I'm at that point. That's what I assume. But Nick, I'm really uncomfortable playing doctor. Yeah. You know, I just I just hate being that guy. Listen, I think, let me put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of all of this, we find out something about Austin Matthews. Like, have we even found out what he missed last year? And remember, he just went missing in the Boston series? Like, it just, I don't know. It just, I see a guy who scored that many times, and now it's like he's not even really getting opportunities. When he's shooting, he's missing the net. Like, to me, and again, I don't want to play doctor either. There just has to be something going on. But that's going to be continuing to be a big story in the series. Is Austin Matthews. Like, you have to push through, man. You really, really do. I keep saying to myself, like all goal scorers, like, this is the history of hockey, folks. All goal scorers are streaky goal scorers. Like, I always love the, when you see, like, the keys for this guy is consistency. Name me one goal scorer, like, all through history. Even Mike Bossy. Ovechkin. Like, nobody has it. He's had downs too. Yeah. Like, and even through a season too, all goal scorers are streaky goal scorers. Yeah. That's just the nature of scoring goals in hockey. It just happens. Yeah. Well, fortunately, I think for the Maple Leafs. But, by the way, again, like, we always talk about, I think Jay's talked about this too. If you don't have your A game going, what's your B game? On the back check and strip of pucks. He's got it. It's not as if, he's not scoring goals, so that's it for Austin Matthews. Leafs Nation, though. It drives me insane, man, because he makes the most money. I mean, that is a fact right now. He makes the most money in the league, and he's not impacting the game the way, say, like, if you look at Edmonton, unfair comparison, it's always Draisaitl, it's always McDavid. It really hasn't been Matthews. He has 2 goals in 9 games for a guy, again, 69 times last year.
Yeah.
And then I almost feel bad shitting on him because I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, find me an athlete that went to a different continent in season, nobody knew about it. It's wild. Like it.
I've always been told, like, we're in an era right now. It's just sort of starting. And you see this. I don't know how many of these people that you follow on Instagram or social media, but there's a lot of new information about health that's out there. A lot of things certainly experimental, but right now, what players have is options, and certainly superstar players. Like, look, it cost the Buffalo Sabres Jack Eichel. Now,
True.
I know he had asked for a trade before, but, not allowing him to have ADR surgery certainly moved things along. And don't think for a second that other players around the league didn't see that and said, ooh, if that's me, I'm not allowed to have ADR surgery with the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah, you know what? Check them off. Check them off my list. Anyway, players do have options, so I do think that we're in an era now. Like, everyone's listened to, like, Huberman, right? Like, everybody, like, all these athletes listen to this stuff and read all of it and consume all, and are surrounded by elite level trainers and doctors, not necessarily just with their team. So I'll be honest with you, Nick, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more of this, certainly from the elite of the elite.
It's fair enough. Again, that's Jeff Marek. I'm Nick Alberga here at Amerant Bank Arena as we get set for Game 4 coming up tomorrow night. Recapping, of course, Game 3, Brad Marchand, the OT winner here on the Saturday edition of Leafs Morning Take at the Leafs Nation 401. Let's talk about Matthew Knies. I feel like every day we carve out a segment to just praise this dude, and he deserves it. I know Rosie met his mom the other night. He's 22 years old. Yeah. The back check on the tying goal in the third period. You talk about big moments. It always seems to be Knies or John Tavares. Like, that's pretty much what's or Nylander in this series.
Are you at the point now where you're ready to say, and he invented oxygen? Pretty
much.
Are you there? Are you there, Nick Alberga?
I'm ready to give him Mitch Marner's money. I'm not kidding.
All of the money. Listen, he's impressive, and he plays a style that fans love.
Appreciate too.
Right? Like, even to this day, how many people have you said, like, I wonder if, like, Wendell and Dougie have, like, one more year left in them. But, like, you haven't seen really a player like that, because the premium with the Toronto Maple Leafs for so long has been on skill. And we can recall when he was drafted. Again, that was a Kyle Dubas pick. They even, because Knies had injuries that season, what essentially the Maple Leafs got was a first-round pick in the second round.
Yes.
They got a first-round pick in the second round, and it's looking like it is a tape measure home run. And he plays with an aggressiveness that reminds you of those early 90s guys. High-skill guy, absolutely. And, as we saw this year, isn't shy when someone takes liberties with him to turn around and stand up and defend himself. Like, he plays a style that blue-collar hockey fans get behind easily. Does he have the same skill that Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews and William Nylander has? No. But to our previous conversation, he has a skill set that none of those guys have. He brings a physicality to this team, married with a high level of talent that other guys just don't have. Essentially, what I'm getting at here, Nick, is he's a really easy guy to cheer for.
Yeah.
He's a really easy guy to cheer for. Every single shift, like, you can see the hard work on the ice, and you're starting to see the results too. It's, like, honestly, you're starting to see, it's wonderful when you see it, a young athlete hit his stride, and you're starting to see Matthew Knies hit his stride. And it reminds you of those throwback guys from the early 90s.
When was the last time you watched a game and you're like, man, Knies looks lost out there? Like,
early in his career.
It's crazy.
When he's figuring it out, but not anymore.
I say that every third game for superstar players on this team.
Yeah. I wonder.
He's always there.
I wonder, too, when Craig Berube took over behind the bench, who was going to get that Berube bump? Who was
Knies.
It's Knies.
Yeah, had to be.
It's Knies.
Yeah.
Like, does he not look like a Craig Berube type player? Could you not see Matthew Knies playing on that edition, the 219 St. Louis Blues?
Sure.
100%
Yeah.
you could.
Yeah.
Like, that right away. You're Craig Berube, you're saying to yourself, okay, yeah, that guy.
I have to credit Rosie, because we interviewed Knies just as he signed. We got to him before the team did. And Rosie, never happened before on this show, I'm just saying. But Rosie right away is like, man, there's something about this kid. He's cut from a different cloth. He called him a future captain in the NHL within watching him of like 5 games. He's nailed it. Like, I just watched Matthew Knies. From a fan perspective, I just get so jacked up and just how repetitive his game is, how consistent he is. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He'll like the way he bounces players. Like he just your prototypical playoff player that drags you in the fight.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He'll hit everything that
Who
moves.
drafted him, by the way? Producer Vic texted and asked who drafted
K.
Matthew.
Dubas.
Where's K. Dubas these days? Marty Marincin fan club, right?
In
that guy?
Pittsburgh. Oh yeah, because every general manager, no general managers have ever whiffed on a player.
Terrell of Marek, I get it. Matthew Knies, great draft pick.
And who didn't trade him to Minnesota for Marc-Andre Fleury when that's who they asked for?
Wasn't it Chicago too?
Oh no, sorry,
It
it
was
was Chicago.
Chicago.
It was Chicago. Yeah.
Did you see the clip we had with Berkey a couple weeks ago?
What'd he say?
He was like, we were pissed. Like Pittsburgh was going to take Knies with the next pick.
Oh, is that right?
I don't think it's ever been said. He revealed that on Leafs Morning Take, Berkey. Imagine Matthew Knies with Sidney Crosby.
I've always loved the
What if game?
alternative history of hockey. We've all played it, right? I've played it. You've played it. Vic's played it. Everyone watching and listening right now has played it as well. Like, if this, then that. Like, I remember having a conversation with Mike Keenan when we were working together, and we were talking about Joe Thornton. And he said when he was with Florida, they had a deal on the table, but his owner wouldn't take money back, so it never happened. Thornton for Luongo, Boston, Florida, 1-for-1.
Oh, my goodness.
How different is the NHL? And do the Boston Bruins win the Stanley Cup in 2011 if that happens? What happens to the San Jose Sharks? What happens to the Florida Panthers, their team where we are right now? Again, like the alternative. That's why I've always felt that we've seen plenty of players write hockey books. We've seen plenty of coaches write hockey books. You know who hasn't written hockey books? Managers. GMs don't write hockey books. That's why I was so happy to see Berkey write his. But by and large, and these are the guys that know everything.
You think Lou Lamoriello writes a book?
Not a chance in hell.
A memoir.
No way, man. No, all
The
these guys
Godfather.
take all their secrets to the crematorium and they get burned. That's what happens, right? And there's this like there's like this conversation about hockey that just dies to history because these guys never document all of it when they're done. Like, we're never going to know, Sam Pollock, Bill Torrey. Who were the 5? Who are the 5 that Montreal offered for the first overall pick that was Denny Potvin? We'll never know. I think Shutt was one of them, but that's
I love
about
those
it.
stories. Like, we had
They're
Vinny
the best stories.
We had Vinny LeCavalier on recently. Remember in 2001, he was almost a Maple Leaf? It was Cabriolet, Antropov.
100%.
And he said, like that deal was going down. They called me and said it was happening.
Did he tell you the specifics of it?
I don't recall it, but he did. Like, he broke it down,
It was... Remember, because Bill Waters was with Toronto at that point, and he told me that because they wanted a number 2 center to play behind Mats, and LeCavalier was the guy that they wanted. LeCavalier was, stop me if you're shocked at this one, not getting along well with John Tortorella. And they thought they could relieve him of the obligation of having Vinny LeCavalier play for the Tampa Bay Lightning and go on to win Stanley Cup. It was Cabriolet, Antropov, either it was Cabriolet, Antropov, and either Brad Boyes or a first-round pick.
Okay.
Tampa's choice. And I think they were going to take Boyes. But then it fell apart.
But another what if? If they trade LeCavalier, they win the Cup, right?
If LeCavalier gets traded to the Montreal Canadiens, Brian Lawton has mentioned this a number of different times. The offer on the table, the deal, which got scuttled by Tampa, this is before LeCavalier's no trade kicked in, was Carey Price, either Ryan McDonough or PK Subban, Tampa's choice, and one other player. How different is the NHL world if Carey Price is playing with Tampa and Vinny LeCavalier goes to Montreal?
Well, even like...
And what happened was one of the Tampa Bay owners brought in a bunch of Quebecois investors to buy a piece of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they wanted Vinny LeCavalier still on the team, and that ended the deal.
Crazy.
This was before Vinny's no trade kicked in. See, stuff like this, as a hockey fan, like honestly, like, look at me here. As a hockey fan, you love this. I know you love this. This is catnip for you. I love it too. We all do. Yeah. That's why I always feel that it is an obligation. We hear a lot about doing what's right for the game. Do what's right for the game, managers. Tell all these stories when you're done. All the things that almost happened. You could fill libraries full of books of things that Like this is tiny tip of the iceberg stuff.
So you're telling me there's a guy in the Maple Leafs, had he waived his no-trade clause at the trade deadline, the hottest player in the Stanley Cup playoffs would be riding shotgun with Austin Matthews right now? Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
That excites me.
Could be.
Disgusts me, but it excites me.
Could be.
It excited me back. Well, it's true. I mean, Mikko Rantanen's
But don't forget, like this is very unique. And as we look at it now, this is the best of all possible situations and places. If it's not going to be Colorado for Mikko Rantanen.
Oh,
it's because. And Pete DeBoer, you know what to do. Like when Heiskanen comes back, you have to do the finish five. You owe it to history. You have to do the finish five. All you do is put Heiskanen with Esa Lindell because you're not breaking up your Granlund line. You can do it. We've seen the Russian five. Now you can do the finish five. But it's the perfect landing spot for him.
Yeah.
And with all those fins around, it's made it hand to glove.
Fair enough. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that
How's
like
my
button.
gain, by the way? I was getting chirped
I think
for
he's
my
better.
gain. Is my
Nobody's
gain
chirping you
okay?
anymore.
Sounds like I know something about the industry.
Your game and your gain.
Fix my gain there.
You're good. Let's look ahead quickly and we'll wrap here. We've got a pool day ahead of us in the afternoon, by the way.
Come on down by the pool.
We need some R&R. Game 4.
Yeah.
From the Maple Leafs perspective, your keys, obviously Joseph Wall, we talked about him. He's probably the starter, no?
We're all assuming.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's we haven't seen the Anthony Stolarz sightings.
I made a joke
or
to
the
Vic. Do you think
practice arena.
they put him on the bird midway through that game? They're like that no-6 shot. Like what was that?
My first thought was, did it go off someone in
No.
front? And it didn't. It just, I don't know. Did the puck drop? Is it like was it a curveball? Was it a knuckleball? But it just. And I don't think anybody outside of Wall was more surprised than Nosek himself. I think he's only scored one other goal this season.
That was like a dump into the corner, I think it felt like. Like, let's get off the ice.
Yeah, that was one of
If you look at the reactions around the Florida bench, like they're all going for a change and they look, they're like, what the hell? You can't let that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I hate the fact.
Although,
I love Wall, too.
They're not all. You can't make it. You can't make every save. I get it. I know we're critical about every tiny thing, but these are the things that you love about hockey, like the goofiness and the chaos of it.
Yeah.
If you're the Maple Leafs, like, don't change anything.
They're playing well, man.
Don't change a thing. Like, again, like how many of those goals? I know it's playoffs, but like how many of those?
Zach
goals,
Phillips, you can't let that in practice.
Oh, Zach.
Zach, do you have anything bad? Go for brunch.
No,
with the wife.
Zach's not. Like, listen, Zach's not wrong. Like he has to. He has to have that. But
producer Vic wanted Joe Wall in Game 2 of the Ottawa series, so he got his guy here.
The last time I checked, hockey is played with human beings and not aliens. And
Matt Murray, I don't know about that.
They're gonna make mistakes, and things are gonna happen, right? Like it's just like sometimes even as broadcasters, sometimes you say Andrew Ference instead of Brad Ference.
Yeah.
Like it happens. Like mistakes happen. That's part of hockey. That was a mistake by Joe Wall.
We don't make $7 million bucks a season, though.
I know. Listen, I get it.
Or 11.9, 10.9, 10.9.
I know. I understand.
But yeah, no. I mean, we're hypercritical.
Talk a lot about money, eh?
Yeah, it's important in life, especially in inflation. I'm buying strawberries for $7.99. Merrick, what do you think I'm going to talk about?
It's expensive out there, man.
I can't support myself anymore.
I know.
But yeah. It's unique in the fact that we're talking about a playoff run. They've won 6 games for the first time in 21 years. They're scoring enough to win games, which is weird to me. Like it's a weird feeling, and I got to credit Toronto's top line for as much as we talked about Matthews. Like I thought they were buzzing. Like that is a really, really good start to the game. They took the crowd right out of the game. I was going to say they took the refs out. They didn't take the refs out of the game. They took the crowd out of the game in the first period. That building was so quiet. Like that's exactly how you want to start a game on the road against the defending Cup champs.
Can I tell you what one of my favorite things in all of sports is? And this is why it sucked in Ottawa when the Maple Leafs scored an overtime goal because there's so many Maple Leafs fans there. One of my favorite things about overtime in the NHL on the road, when you score as the visiting team, I love the sound of all you can hear is the team that scored celebrating. Everything else is quiet. To me, it's one of the coolest moments in sports.
Hockey
because the
ASMR.
fans are just it's stunned, so they're all quiet, and you just hear the "fuck yeah" like from
Merrick
everybody
swore, I love
on
that.
the ice.
Yes,
that's what is awesome when the visiting team, and it's one of my favorite things in sports when the visiting team scores in overtime.
Wanted
Get
that
those
last
mics
night.
hot.
We wanted that so bad last night, and Couple opportunities, Matthew Knies, William Nylander. I did want to get to, we were talking about this, I think, on the way home last night. What would have happened, the Brandon Carlo play? I know it ended up being a goal, but what happens there?
So I got some texts about it too, like what's the call? How come that's not would it have been a penalty shot? So Carlo's stick breaks, and he makes a play on the puck with the broken stick. Now, the call itself, this isn't like glove on puck in the crease, which is an automatic penalty shot. If you play a puck in the crease with a broken stick, the call is 2-minute minor for equipment violation. The only thing that would get a penalty shot, and it would be the same as if it happened anywhere in the zone, unless it was far away from the play. If Carlo had thrown his broken stick at the puck, that would have been a penalty shot. Okay. But actually playing it with a broken stick, it's a minor for an equipment violation. That's what it would be. It wouldn't be a penalty shot.
But a lot of those scrambles for the Leafs, like even Jake McCabe, what was a game 2?
Yeah.
I just think I think the attention to detail defensively, getting in lanes, blocking shots, like that's what's been weird for me to see in the Stanley Cup playoffs is the buy-in. Like they're really, really playing like a team right now.
And I love those goals, and specifically I love goals like that in overtime.
Yeah.
Like during the 60 minutes of regulation, I like my goals to be pretty. I want them to look. I want them to be like, oh wow, like that's a goal. But then when it comes to overtime, dude, I want it so ugly.
There was a guy on Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada for a long time put the puck on net. I don't know if you know this guy, Donald S. Cherry.
I'm familiar with that. Just throw the puck on net. It's the Carolina Hurricanes. They do it on the overtime. They do it all 3 periods.
Yeah.
Which is why that Marner goal against Bobrovsky was a Carolina goal. Discuss that statement amongst yourselves.
What does that mean?
By the way, it was a Carolina goal. No,
July 1st,
I want ugly goals in overtime.
Yeah.
Because I like my sports to be indicative of life, and sometimes like ugly, awful stuff happens to you in life, and you just have to deal with it. That's why I love ugly goals in overtime. Not just that, but I'm still waiting. It's gonna happen, folks. I'm still waiting for the coach's challenge.
Oh no! Don't even do that. Game 7 Cup final. The play is under review. They do like the whole celebration.
Yes.
They call it back.
100%.
I'll never.
Because you know why? I'm still pissed off that in '99 Buffalo left the ice, as opposed to staying on the ice to protest.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Refusing to get off the ice.
Man, you're so right though. Like I hope that never happens.
But the potential is there for it to happen. Honestly, like Nick,
it'll be Wes McCauley out there.
We bring it all back. It's going to happen. It might not happen this year. It might not happen next year. It might not happen in the next 10 years. It might not happen while Nick and I are still sharing oxygen with you.
Yeah.
But one day it's going to happen. One day it's going to happen.
Yeah. Again, nail biting time.
What's that? World Championship gold medal. Right by the net.
They blew up the puck too.
Right by the net. Celebrated the goal. Yeah. By the way,
it's Ace.
Hey, you know what? We figured it out. So Wyshynski and I have this. We were talking a couple of weeks ago on the sheet about how is Ace a self-created nickname, because no one could figure out like where. And so I was just in Washington. I was talking to Joe Beninati, and he weighed in on it. And his theory is this: what they used to call him in Washington, Joe did whenever he'd see him, he'd go, "Hey AC, Anson Carter," and AC
short form because it's hockey
turned Ace because hockey is not creative. AC just turned into Ace. That's the theory.
It's hilarious. What was it? The Stanley Cup Final 2017. Friend of the show, Dave Pagnotta, and I, extracurriculars after one of the games against San Jose.
Yeah.
We ended up in a taxi with Anson Carter, and I was so bombed in the front seat. I'm like, the guy in the back there is the guy who scored the goal in the World Championship. Where they blew it, and Ace is just dying in the back. And we were like in Pittsburgh.
I bet he loved it.
Yeah, he was. We were in Pittsburgh. The guy had no clue what I was saying in the front seat, but I thought it was the funniest shit ever because anybody who's Canadian remembers that goal.
100%. Everyone was exactly.
Yeah.
Because everyone sat on the television waiting and waiting and waiting, and let's not forget too. Like part of it is Anson had the coolest look too.
Yeah.
Like as far as style points go for a hockey player, like that's elite. That was an elite look that Carter
The mission
had.
bucket, I don't know about that, but
I don't know.
Listen,
of course, yeah. If you're like if you're someone from like whenever I see mission hockey, I think Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think to myself two things. I think about mission hockey, and I think about how in Minnesota, unlike I believe anywhere else in the world, they call hockey pants breezers.
Really?
Breezers. You go to ask next time we talk to Berkey.
He asked me if I was drunk last time I talked to him.
I heard. Yeah, he brought up
because I suggested that Joseph Wall play Game 6.
And he said, have you been drinking?
Yes.
Waiting for an
And
intervention.
I said, in fact, I have
No, but
been.
ask him, say, Berkey, what can you tell me about breezers?
And he'll just go on.
Hockey pants. That's
Bacardi?
in Minnesota.
Yeah.
In Minnesota, that's what they call hockey pants. You don't know this?
No.
Yeah, breezers.
I don't know much about hockey, honestly. I just watch it a lot.
I'm new to it too.
Yeah.
I'm just making shit up as I go along.
Anyways, want to get in the action for Stanley Cup playoffs at Bet365? They got you from game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. So a pair of Game 3s tonight. You got Washington, Carolina.
Yeah.
You got Vegas, Edmonton. I'm going to go with Vegas to win Game 3 tonight against Edmonton.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'm curious about. Can I make a prop?
Yes, Ken.
Vasily Podkolzin. I know he doesn't get a lot of headlines, and I know he only gets between 6 and 8 minutes of ice time. But that fourth line with Janmark and Arvidsson have been excellent for the Oilers.
Yeah.
Over/under on hits for Podkolzin, who every time he goes out there, he tries to wreck and break something. It's so much
I love
fun.
that.
So
He knows
much-
how to stay in the lineup, right?
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. By the way, his hits per 60, I think last time I checked, was 29.7.
Really?
The guy is going out there and just trying to destroy things. I think the last game was only 2 hits, but over/under Vasily Podkolzin, 2.5 hits.
Probably go over.
I would go over 2, but I can't figure whether I'm saying that because I want it to be that way or it's going to be that way.
Home barn,
But don't
too.
forget,
you're
you're getting the change, and so
Yeah.
Knobloch's gonna be able to put him out where he
Yeah.
wants to put him out against who he wants to put him out against. So I would go over on that one.
It would be a company dream to get Toronto, Edmonton, Stanley Cup final. A lot of work ahead of ourselves, but collision courses, you start to think about it a bit. I know Florida wins last night, and this is going to be a tough series, but it would be awesome.
Do you think whoever wins this series is winning the East? So what I'm saying is, do you think they dust either Carolina?
I'll be
or
honest,
Washington?
and I hate saying this on a Leaf show, and I should preface, my picks for the playoffs was Edmonton against Carolina, 06 revenge series, and I liked Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup. There's just something about a team when nobody expects them to do anything. Like, how much heat has Carolina taken this season with the whole Rantanen thing? Would you be shocked if they went all the way?
Carolina? No.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be. They're so hard to play against.
I know.
So I was mentioning this on the sheet the other day with Zach. So here's what. Okay, let me do it this way. Okay, Nick Alberga.
Hi.
If I told you at the beginning of the season, the Carolina Hurricanes were going to trade Martin Necas and Jack Drury. Okay.
Yeah.
Necas, they'd already been trying to trade for
The
a
Necas
while
boy?
now.
Yeah.
They've been trying for a while. So if I told you they're going to trade Martin Necas and Jack Drury, and they were going to get back Logan Stankoven, Taylor Hall, 2 first-round picks, and $6 million in cap space.
I know what you're trying to do to me. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Incredible haul.
Maybe find out if the guy's going to re-sign, then get Rantanen.
How about all those other teams that said that they would re-sign him, but then didn't make any good offers?
Yeah.
There is that thing around
But
the
you're
NHL
right.
where
In
everyone's sort of
retrospect.
blasting Tulski about this
Yeah.
one. The people that should get blasted here are the ones that are blasting Carolina. Said that they could sign him and didn't make legitimate offers to get him.
Not true. Yeah.
Didn't make legitimate
Not
offers
true.
to get him. But again, what I like about it is they took a swing, didn't work, and instead of doubling down and keeping him, they turned him into something else of significance, right? And we'll see what they end up doing with these 2 picks and the $6 million of cap space.
The irony.
But that's what they did.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Those are the things they gave up, and what they got back in return is an absolute haul.
A Taylor Hall, would you say?
Taylor Hall, pardon the pun.
The irony, too, and so Hall signs the extension. You were all over that a couple months back, and he's been a really, really good fit. But the irony that there could be a guy in Toronto that gets to July 1 who wouldn't waive to go to Carolina. Does he change his opinion on the matter? Well, I guess he loves Toronto
Well,
if he
the
gets to
thing
July
is,
1.
if you're interested in him in January, why
you're
wouldn't you
gonna
be
still-
interested in him in July?
He's been linked to the Canes for a long, long time. But it's story for a
But hang
different
on,
day.
but I pause on that too, because
Yeah.
the thing about the Carolina Hurricanes is, you have to be an elite level athlete to play on this team. It is hard to play that style. It's almost like Rod Brindamore wants all of his players to be triathletes because that playing that man to man, the way that they do it is physically grueling. Like it's very effective. It relies on communication. It relies on hard work. It relies on really great back checking and two-way play. Like and volume shooting from, that's why I called that Bobrovsky goal the Carolina shot, because that's what they do. I remember I had one Carolina Hurricane player tell me a few years ago, we got a big analytics team, so we take the first period and all we do is we warm up our Corsi to keep them happy. Because I get 20 shots in the first period. But he's like, that's Carolina. It's volume shooting, it's man-to-man, which, by the way, when things break down, allows the other team to have grade A scoring chances. I'll tell you, I was in Washington for 3 days and watched 2 games. And the thing about watching Carolina from Popcorn Row is you do see how much ice is open. Because when you're playing man-to-man, there's a lot of ice that's available. But when you're playing normally the way that the NHL is played now, you say oh man, there's no room to move out there. Carolina doesn't let you move because they skate in your hip pocket. But when the plays break down, there's a lot of ice. There's a lot of ice out there. I get it. Carolina's an acquired taste, right? And it's not for everybody. I like it, but I find the chess match of hockey to be fascinating.
They always seem to go to a conference final too.
They're
and,
good. Yeah.
Of course, here in Leafs Nation, we'll see Carolina in round 3. That's my my confirmation, my guarantee, my Messier guarantee.
Whoa,
Marek, this has been a lot of fun. We got a pool to get to, and I got to make some call, find out what the hell's bothering Matt Murray. So,
did you buy that new bikini at the mall you were talking about?
I got the Speedo. I brought the Speedo on this trip, so producer Vic and I, and you're more than welcome to join. We're going to hit the pool after this, have a couple of cocktails on the company account, and call it a day.
Looking forward to seeing you dent a Speedo this afternoon, Nick Alberga.
I'm looking forward to seeing me tomorrow on Leafs Morning Take at 11 a.m. following tonight's festivities on Las Olas.
Make sure you get pictures, Vic, because Speedos don't tell any lies.
All right, that's going to do it. Amerant Bank Arena, I finally nailed the title. That's
what
a
is
Jeff
it?
Marek-ism. Amerant Bank Arena.
Yeah, you got. So now why would you buy a new tongue at the gas station, and break
cut
it
the
in?
feed.
Break it in on the big show yesterday. What would you do that for? Don't break in a new
Sorry,
tongue on the
Jeff.
big show.
Thank you so much for spending some time today.
Anytime, pal. It's fun.
Jeff Marek.
Beats working.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Don't forget as well to check out the LeafsNation.com. We'll be back tomorrow for the Sunday edition. Rosie back in the mix, and we'll preview Game 4. Thank you to producer Vic.
How'd I do? Was that
Very
okay?
good.
I passed the test.
10 out of 10.
Did I get the gig? Do we call Rosie up? Rosie, I got. So
this is my it's
so
my
this
choice.
Is, so
I would
hang-
have you for the
hang
rest
on
of
a
the
second.
season.
Can we do a little bit behind the scenes here?
Yes.
Okay, so to start the show, this is what producer Vic.
I figured that's what was going on. Gingivitis, periscope, and porridge.
That's what I had to get in.
That is a random
How'd I do,
shit.
producer Vic? Got them all 3 in early, baby.
To wrap, all I'll say, if it was my choice, Rosie wouldn't come back, and you'd be hosting the show for the rest of the season. That's Jeff
your
Marek.
choice. Your choice.
I'm Nick Alberga. Peace out. We'll see you Sunday. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Roseau. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.